Good evening, guys. Thank you so much for being here at Echo Base TV, where community happens. Nick and I have a very big vision for EBN TV. You're watching this here. It is our very first Monday night broadcast. This is going to be the regular thing. Thank you to all of our content creators who got their content in by the 7 o'clock p.m. deadline. One person was a little late getting it in, but he messaged me and said, hey, it's going to be a couple minutes late, but it's on the way. That's not a problem. That's exactly how you do that. So let me know, guys. I like to work on it and get it done, and I want to have the best show available for you guys every Monday night. Nick and I want to grow this thing so much. If you haven't noticed already, Nick and I are producing content over here on EBN TV that's everything entertainment. Boxing, Karate Kid, Cobra Kai, The Matrix, you name it. If it's something hot and we got a take on it, we're doing it. Do you want to produce content here at EBN TV? Well, the way to do that right now is to be a member over at Echo Base Network until we get this channel monetized. Step one in this process, guys, is to get Echo Base TV monetized. And you never know. This could be the main channel at Echo Base Network one day. This could be the main thing. Who knows what's going to happen? I would like to have a 7 o'clock p.m. broadcast of Echo Base TV with content created by you guys every single night. How cool would that be? Think about that. Think about that. Let's do it, guys. We got to do this together. Thank you so much for all of your support, all of your help, and sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hello, old friend. What is this? How long have you been on your own?
Too long.
Listen, I'm sorry about what the Empire is doing with your kind. I was always fond of Jedi. Nevertheless, First thing in the morning, you're gone.
What? No, June, you can't send me back out there.
You have control of your power.
Powers I never asked for.
First thing in the morning.
What the business is, friend?
Hello there.
TB. At your service. Smoke one of these? I'm trying to quit myself.
Passing through, I take it?
Well, afraid not. Me and old Iron Hand over here just looking for something that needs to be returned, so.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. That's right. Iron Hand, show him the hologram. You lost another hologram? That's what's coming out of your bounty. The name's Nisha Sapphire. She probably wouldn't be about 18. Nasty little book. Happen to see her around?
Nothing here but man in the mouse.
So you heard of the Emperor? I'm not kidding, everybody has, right? You're paying us a healthy amount of credits, man. We got families to feed. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. I cannot help you. Best of luck to you both.
Woo! They don't call him old Iron Hand for nothing. So come back over here, we're gonna figure this out.
I'm gonna tell you this once. Leave.
You know, I heard what happened to your people. What a tragic thing that was.
Why'd you have to make it personal? Be smarter than your friend.
What a shame.
Stop!
Well, well.
Let him live. Let him live and I'll go with you.
Come on.
No. Let her. Tomorrow's not an option. We need to move.
Good evening, everyone. This is Grand Admiral Thrawn coming to you once again directly from the Chimera with another urgent message. We hope you enjoy tonight's stream on Echo Base TV, and I would encourage you, make sure you subscribe to every channel you see featured here tonight. So if you see content during tonight's broadcast that you find to be entertaining, be sure to subscribe to its creator. Now enjoy the show, and welcome to Echo Base TV, where community happens.
Welcome to Echo Base TV, and this is Figure of the Week. Today I would like to review the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series 40th anniversary release of the Imperial TIE Fighter pilot. Now this wasn't a figure I prioritised adding to my collection when it was released last year, but as you can see from the big sticker on this, I got it on sale this weekend and couldn't say no. I normally like seeing the characters on the box art from scenes from the movies, but in this case I can give it a solid pass. That iconic chase scene of the Millennium Falcon through the asteroid field from Empire is one of the highlights of the film, and is the same picture depicted on the original Kenner box art for the TIE Fighter figure back in 1983. The best smelling figure of the year, I might add, as it said, the figure was produced in the same factory as Strawberry Shortcake, and as a result the TIE Fighter pilots were said to have had a distinct strawberry scented smell. I'm not sure if this figure will smell as nice.
Here they come!
Turning the box around, we can see it's filled with the usual legalese that comes with these figures and warnings at the bottom. However, on the top we can see the other figures that were released in this wave. Snowspeeder Luke, Bespin Lando, our TIE Fighter pilot, a Rebel soldier from Echo Base, and R2-D2 from Dagobah. Picking up this figure now completes this wave for my collection. Let's pop him out of the packaging for a closer look. Now, as someone who likes to open my figures for photography, I sometimes hold on to the boxes if the box art is particularly nice or there's something special about it. But in this case, the box is badly damaged as it was obviously on the sale shelf for quite a while, and it has this big dirty sticker on it. So I'm quite happy just to rip this guy out to have a look. Carefully slitting along the blister pack so we don't cut ourselves. We can remove them for a closer inspection. So straight away we have a look at his blaster. It's a typical E11 blaster that comes with a lot of these Imperial figures. This one has a nice bit of silver detailing on it, which makes it stand out. These can come out bent a lot of the time from the packaging, and this one isn't so bad actually. But that's, like I said, a pretty standard weapon accessory for any Imperial figures. Okay, so a quick look at this guy's articulation. I'm going to have a closer look up front. Now it's quite hard to see given that the figure is black in colour, but there is some nice details on the uniform. The shape of the helmet is absolutely fantastic with these Imperial decals on the front of the helmet along with Imperial decal patches on each side of the arm. We have this chest piece with the pipes coming into the helmet reminiscent of the character in the movie. Nice Imperial style belt with a holster for his E11 blaster. However, I don't think that's very practical for flying a TIE fighter. I can see that getting in the way, so I'm not quite sure how that works. I know the original Kenner figure came with a small blaster, which might have been a little more suitable for a pilot to carry. There's a nice detail on the comlink on the arm here, and that's about all the colour that's on this figure. The rest of it is just black, but like I said, there is some nice moulding in the figure to show up the material. The arms, we get a full 90 degree with rotation and swivel. We have a swivel on the elbow and a 90 degree on the elbow, as well as a lovely moulded glove, which is, I think, super little detail to the figure. We've got rotation and in and out movement on the wrist. We have very limited ab movement given the fact he's got this chest piece on, but we do have left and right turn around. Legs, good movement on them there with rotation at the top of the leg. We have a double jointed knee, as well as up and down movement on the ankle and an ankle rocker. So I would say a pretty standard articulation for any type of Black Series figure. Right, let's have a comparison to him with some other Imperial figures from the line for a closer look. So here's our TIE fighter pilot standing alongside the AT-AT driver. You can see the AT-AT driver is slightly taller than our TIE fighter pilot. Bringing in an Imperial Stormtrooper for comparison, we can see again the Stormtrooper is slightly taller than the TIE fighter pilot, and you can see then adding this figure to a few Imperial figures really starts to bring back that original trilogy feel. And just for comparison with another black figure, here's a customized version of the Death Star gunner that I made myself, and of course we have the Death Star Trooper, which by the way is another black figure, but we can see that I initially thought some of the molds might have been copied from this guy, but no, this fella was all new moulding. It's not copied at all. Here's our pilot standing beside Lord Vader himself. Obviously Lord Vader is a taller figure, but again another black figure with some details in the mold that make this figure stand out.
Several fighters have broken off from the main group. Come with me.
And here he is next to Grand Moff Tarkin, who no doubt would have been ordering this particular Imperial Navy officer to take his TIE fighter and go out and defend the Imperial ships against the rebellion. and of course a quick comparison in height between our TIE Fighter pilot and the Rebel pilot of Red 5 we all know as Mr. Luke Skywalker. TIE Fighter pilot slightly taller than Luke in this pose, and we can see that these two adversaries look quite nice when lined up against each other. So that's my review of this figure here. Like I said at the start, it wasn't a figure that I was mad to get when it was released last year, but the fact that it was on sale for only €10 this weekend, it was certainly worth a pick up. Quite a hard figure to review given the colour of the figure. It's all black, but overall I'm actually delighted with this addition to my collection, and I'm going to display him proudly with my other Imperial figures. Thank you so much for watching.
You're traveling through another channel. A channel not only of sight and sound, but of content. A journey into a stream whose boundaries are that of imagination. You see a link up ahead. Your next click, EchoBase TV.
Hello all, another Trucker on the Road food edition. Pine Cone Travel Plaza, Johnson Creek, Wisconsin. Good homemade muffins. Bismarck's, of course. They got a restaurant bakery. And there's a half-pound cookie. Long old reason. Pardon me. And I've been listening to audiobooks of the Artemis Fowl series. If you haven't ever heard of it, look it up. There is a movie, Artemis Fowl. It's pretty close to the first book, but the whole series is very good. Y'all have a great day. Keep on smiling. And remember today being 9/11. Thank you to all our veterans, current and past. And remember our fallen, but also remember our first responders, our firefighters, our police officers. We all have a debt to pay to them because they are the ones that keep not just ourselves, but our families safe and so forth. Have a blessed day, and here in a couple of weeks, hope to go off and be making some new meals and merchandise coming out soon. I'm trying to go off and get that straightened out. Thank you. Have a great day.
Hey there, EchoBase TV, this is Master Paul. So the video that you're going to be seeing from me today is an excerpt from last week's Tuesday Night Trek, hosted of course by myself, Golgo13's Anime 101, the Nerdporeal Lifeform, and Spock. During this stream, we were discussing episodes 11 through 20 of Star Trek The Original Series Season 2, and during that stream, a very interesting question was asked, and that is, who would win a tactical showdown of fleets, Spock and his logic, or Grand Admiral Thrawn and his well-developed talent for strategy? So we saved this question until the very end of the stream, at which point we brought on our friend Thrawn, who is, of course, one of the mods here at EchoBase Network, and Spock and Thrawn had a very, very interesting debate on that subject. So you're about to watch that now, and of course don't forget to subscribe to my channel, The Star Wars Guys, if you want to see more stuff like this from Tuesday Night Trek. Anyways, I hope you enjoy. See you later, Brandon and Brandon. Brian. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and pop you out too, okay?
Okay.
Because Thrawn is here. So, how are you today, Thrawn?
Great. How about you guys?
Hail Thrawn, how's it going?
Doing well. So, I have brought you here, Thrawn, because as you saw earlier, let's see if I can pull it up, Felix asked a very interesting question that I wanted to hear you and Spock debate, which is, who wins in planning a tactical attack to a fleet, Thrawn or Spock? So I'm just gonna turn you guys loose, and I'll clip this part of the video, and if you guys are cool with it, we'll submit it for EchoBase TV.
Yeah, sounds perfect.
All right. So let's real quick set the scene here. So let's assume that this battle takes place in completely open space. There's no planets anywhere out there. It's just the Enterprise. Wait, let me reread the question. It's who plans better for a fleet? Okay, so never mind then about it just being a Star Destroyer versus the Enterprise. So yeah, Spock versus Thrawn, strategy versus logic. What you guys got?
Well, I'm gonna be open and upfront about this. I only know very little about Thrawn. I know from what I've seen in Rebels and some information some friends have told me of how he's like, I wouldn't say a lapdog of the Empire, but he follows, their wishes, and he's not only doing that, but he's doing that very successfully, better than anybody in the Empire, because of how efficient and the connections he has. So I've also heard that he's the reason that the Empire has the Death Star plans to begin with, to create them, because he's taken them from Geonosis, which is, he's a really cool character, and this is like a really hard versus, because they both are very excelled in this area of planning an attack pattern and how to prevent their ship from being destroyed. I would say it depends definitely on the scenario. If Spock is ordered to arrange a fleet because there is, say, this is like 24th century, the Dominion want to come and wreck Earth, he would definitely be a big help in most of the forces of the Dominion being lost over to the Federation hands, because of his experience and because of his mostly his experience that he's had on the Enterprise and served before with Christopher Pike. He has so much knowledge that he can pretty much anticipate the needs and movement of enemy forces and what their intentions are before they even reach their goal. So if the Dominion, which you'll read about, which you'll see, Paul, in Deep Space Nine, they're just beings that are controlled from the Gamma Quadrant, which is almost halfway across the galaxy, and they wanted to pretty much take control of the entire quadrant that we know, that we've seen in the original series, the Alpha Quadrant. Okay. So if that was to happen, Spock would take out a big amount of their forces before they even reached Earth, because one of their lines of defense are at the lunar colony, and then one at Mars, which he would probably set up first to get rid of forces. If this was Thrawn, though, I'm not sure. What would you say, Thrawn? Because I think you know some about the Dominion, if I'm right.
Yeah, absolutely. So Thrawn would be first looking at the artwork, right? That's his shtick. Studying the culture. In this exact scenario, getting that kind of information would be difficult for obvious reasons. I don't know, if Coach listens to this, we might spoil things for him. So you gotta worry about people who haven't seen Deep Space Nine, even though it's been out for 20 years.
I'll flash this up real quick.
No, you're right, though.
He would probably start with the Cardassians and Bajor and study their history, study their artwork, which I think for the Cardassians is very telling. That
Yeah,
said,
because if anything, that's where most of the Dominion, because in the Dominion, Paul, are, without spoiling too much, they're kind of like a race that's enslaved by another race called Founders.
Okay.
And they do get strategic advice from them. They're basically engineered to be very strong and very smart. But Thrawn is right in saying the most weakest their weakest defense in their force would probably be attacking Cardassians, because that's most likely where they're getting most of their militaristic advice. Because Cardassians are in the show shown to be very strategic, very smart, and very what's it called? Very precautionary. So they prepare for every single situation that's thrown at them. So attacking them would probably weaken their defense force. I agree.
Well, let me ask this first, because something that I kind of forgot to establish early on. What will ultimately, in this scenario, because you've set it up where Thrawn is attacking into Federation territory, so what would be Thrawn's endgame? What does he want?
Is this for me or Thrawn?
Either one.
Well, complete control of the quadrant, if anything. If he does eliminate the foes that are threatening the Federation, he's left with the Federation that's pretty much battle damaged, and which would probably, if he had his own force, which he would have to start a rebellion of his own to have some kind of uprising against the Federation after they've wiped out the Dominion.
Okay.
yeah, so with that stage, if we're talking about the Deep Space Nine arc, Thrawn would just sit back. He would sit back and let it
Let it happen.
And if anything, he would subtly prod each end, stoke the flame of war, and not come in until both sides were weak enough where his force could succeed.
Now,
what would you say his force would be, Thrawn?
Oh, the Seventh Fleet.
Oh, of course.
So this is the interesting thing. We don't have any sort of scaling or any way to determine how a Star Destroyer, let's say, would compare to any of the ships in the Star Trek universe. The physics are even all different, right? in the two universes.
True.
Correct.
That's what makes this a little bit tough. If a Death Star flew into Federation territory, would that be equivalent to like a Borg cube?
Borg cube, and more of like an Enterprise, the Xindi sphere.
There we go.
So real quick, Felix asks another interesting question. What happens on a sudden attack? Is the answer different? Is there a lot of time to plan, or is there a lot of time to plan the attack?
Well, I guess it depends on what's being attacked. If it's like Thrawn said, if it's two different opposing forces that have nothing to do with him, you would most likely just, sit back and let it happen. But if it was something attacking, the Seventh Fleet or one of Thrawn's resources, if it was just like a sudden attack, I'm not sure. What would you say, Thrawn?
For Thrawn and sudden attacks, I mean, again, it's tough to say depending on how much information he has going into a fight.
So
right?
Here, I'll give a scenario. So I'm guessing the Seventh Fleet is Thrawn's fleet, because I have not seen much of Thrawn either. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what happened? So give this scenario. The Enterprise is surprise attacked directly by the Seventh Fleet. What happens?
Worst case scenario, the Enterprise is boarded by the Seventh Fleet. And most likely that's going to be the case, even if Spock's on board, because the Enterprise has very limited combat, especially in the 23rd century. It had very limited combat. It only had phasers and torpedoes. The other ships you see in the later shows have different volleys of torpedoes, different firing modes for their phasers so they can shoot multiple targets. Since you're attacking the 23rd Enterprise that we see in the original series, depends on how many ships are attacking. If it's like 5 ships, then definitely, even with Spock on board, they're going to get boarded. And it's left up to some kind of escape plan or some kind of freeing the ship type of plan that we see in a lot of Star Trek episodes. But if it's one ship, like one giant ship from the 7th Fleet, I would say it would not get boarded because the Enterprise has faced a lot of threats with ships that are way bigger than its size. Even dealt with a hand coming out of a planet and grabbing it. But
fair enough.
It would probably survive a pretty armed attack from a... Because the thing about Starfleet code is that normally they always have their shields on, no matter if they're not being attacked or not. They always usually have their shields on, so if there was a surprise attack from like a Romulans, they would be okay till an extent, you know? The reason they have their shields on is because of the treaty that was passed when the Romulan War happened, which is way before the original series in Star Trek. But the reason that war caused so many deaths because of the cloaking technology that Romulans had. So if the 7th Fleet has anything similar, the Enterprise would probably be prepared for it, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. Thrawn, anything to reply to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think once again we're dealing with not knowing what the balance of power is between ship classes, but a fleet versus a ship, a fleet wins. I mean, that's, to me, that's as fleet versus a fleet. That's a different story if we're gonna put everybody on the same playing field. But let's go back to just the two individuals we're talking about, Thrawn and Spock. As individuals, I think Thrawn has the advantage overall because that's his specialty. He's a military tactician. He's a commander. This is, if you say that Thrawn and Spock are very similar in their intelligence levels and in their strategy and their logic, which I think is the case, then it comes down to who is more experienced. Spock is a science officer. Spock's focus.
If anything, he would come out with an escape plan rather than a reversal plan to stop Thrawn's attack. Because Thrawn, since he's more experienced, like you said, in the militaristic background, he's gonna just know from experience how to penetrate, where to penetrate, and how to get into their shields and board the ship. Then it's just left to smart thinking after. That's if they decide. That's if Thrawn decides to leave the ship with hostages or kill everybody on board. That's just up to him.
Right. And
there's also go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
There's also some scenarios where Spock may find that surrender is the most logical alternative, as opposed to they're gonna get killed, the only way to survive is surrender.
That's
pretty
true.
much that would be the logical course of action, because having the ship blowing up wouldn't be a logical course of action, because then these ships that attacked you would just move on to the next ship and then the next ship. So one thing what Spock would probably do is surrender, so he would take that time. If they did board the ship and leave survivors, he would take that as an advantage to study them and come out with a way to escape, because if they're being trapped on their own ship, chances are Spock's going to know how to free himself.
Right. Alright, so last question about this debate, and again, this is coming from Felix. He's asking hand-to-hand combat, who wins? Spock or Thrawn?
Yeah, I have to get the edge to Spock here.
Yeah, I would easily say Spock. I mean, Thrawn is a good fighter. We even seen in, I think, Rebels, we see him fight. I might be wrong on that, but
yeah,
he is from what I hear, he is pretty skilled. Go ahead.
He doesn't have that strength that Spock has. I think, he's more in the, at least in the universe, my understanding, the Chiss strength is that of, like what a human would be. It's a one-to-one.
Just of a normal human.
Right. Whereas the
reason
Vulcans are
he's just so
stronger.
strong is Thrawn-wise. Is the reason Thrawn is so strong is because he's just studied combat more than anybody. So even if he fights somebody 10 times his size, he's gonna knock him out. But the thing with Spock is it's not just that you're fighting brute strength, but you're also fighting brute strength and skill. Like Nerporial said, you're fighting somebody who knows how to also use a different amount of fighting techniques on top of that strength. The thing about that most famous move from Spock, like you see in a lot of episodes, is his neck pinch. And the reason humans can do it, but Vulcans easily can do it even easier, is because of their strength, of the pressure points they know where to press, and just with a light tap, they can make somebody go to sleep. But as for a human, you know, we'd have to use a bit more strength to be able to do something like that, where we'd have to really press and make somebody go. Because you see Kirk do it in a lot of the episodes, but Spock, he can just walk up behind somebody and make them go to sleep, which is probably what he would do if he was trapped on the Enterprise. He would find a way to get that force field free with some kind of device that he would craft from either his belt or something inside the cell, and neck pinch the guard standing in front of him. The question is how far they would escape. Not too far. If not, Spock and maybe a couple would only survive the escape, because of this is an occupants they've just never dealt with. Even in all the experience they've had, they've never come close to somebody with Thrawn's strength and strategy. So this would be a completely huge new field for them.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It would be interesting to see the entire cast up against each other, right? Because I think that Thrawn versus Spock in a military engagement, if everybody else is the same and there are no other variables, Thrawn wins that battle. Fleet versus fleet. But when you actually take into account that Star Trek really frames its crews and its even the enemies, right? There's not just one leader and everybody else is kind of a buffoon. You know, they're pretty much
everyone's competent.
They all cooperate with each other real well.
On both sides, you know, whether it's a villain or a protagonist. And that's not the case in the Star Wars universe. Even in Thrawn's fleets, where they're more competent than the normal Empire fleet, and his officers are more competent than the norm, they're still way below where Thrawn is. It's like
I'll go on record and say this: 20 red shirts versus 20 stormtroopers, the red shirts are winning.
Yeah, definitely,
maybe 2 red shirts. So yeah, for sure, there you have to put all of that into context, and it would be a lot more interesting to see fleet versus fleet where that winds up.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
definitely, if it was fleet versus fleet, Thrawn would win that.
Yes, but I think this consensus is, Thrawn would win, but depending on the scenario, it would not be an easy win.
Exactly.
No way.
Well, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed that little video. Make sure to subscribe to everyone that was involved with this. Myself, Spock, Thrawn, Golgo13's Anime 101, and the Nerdporial Lifeform. And of course, you can catch stuff like this again on my channel on Tuesday Night Trek, Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. And I hope to see you guys there, and just remember, the Force is family. See you later.
Welcome to Echo Base TV, guys, where community happens.
Hello everyone, Ted Dill, Star Wars Nerd here, back in Echo Base for a really quick one. Coach is always looking for new books and things to check out, so I thought we would give him this promo I saw. It looked like a commercial for a Star Wars book from back in the day. I hadn't watched it yet, but I thought it'd be really cool to give it a shot here. I've read the book, but I haven't seen this trailer, so this will be cool to watch. Okay? Let's get it set, and here we go.
Imperial Star Destroyer. Do you copy? vessel purge requesting permission to dock. Our hyperdrive is damaged and we are in need of immediate assistance. Imperial Star Destroyer, do you copy? Is anyone there? Sir, their comm is up, but we have no response.
Destroyer 316, this is the commander of the Purge. As a result of your repeated failure to acknowledge our distress call, I hereby authorize the salvage of your ship. Prepare to be boarded.
Yes. Oh, man. Death Troopers. Greatness. So. There you go. So, you want a recommendation of a book you can read from back in 2009, I think it was. Death Troopers. Greatness. Go check it out. So there you go, Coach. That's the one I recommend today. Thanks again for joining me today at Echo Base Network, where you are Echo Base. I am Ted the Old Star Wars Nerd. Thanks again for joining me, and until next time, take care.
Hello, and welcome to Coffee on Korriban. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 cheesiest lines from the prequels. Now, if you know me, you know I love the prequels, and I really don't think there are many cheesy lines. Maybe some things that could be written better, but for the most part, I don't have an issue with a lot of the lines that other people do. So I went ahead and went on to ScreenRant.com to their article, The 10 Cheesiest Lines in the Prequels, and I'm going to go through them and see if they're really as cheesy as most people believe, and kind of what the reasoning is, or what my reasoning is, as to why they are not quite as bad as most people say. But then again, it's Screen Rant, so. Quick announcement before I start this video, I now have for sale some Coffee on Korriban mug. So if you feel the need to slurp out of a distinguished drinking vessel, now you can pick one of these Coffee on Korriban mustache mugs up for yourself. Now it is on Teespring, but I made the profit margin on those like 20 cents to get the cost as low as possible. I don't care about making money, but if you would like a mustache mug, they are available for the lowest possible price. And be sure to subscribe to my channel because at 574 subscribers, I will be doing a live stream giveaway of one of those mustache mugs. So be sure to tune in to that. Why the number 574? Well, I'll explain in the live stream. And here's the question of the day. What do you think is the cheesiest line in all of the prequels? And I want this to be personal for you. What line makes you cringe every time you hear it? And as I'm getting into this, I want you to put down in the chat what that line is. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Alright, first on the list, it's over, Anakin! I have the high ground! I feel like most people assume that this line is saying that because Obi-Wan is at a higher elevation than Anakin, that he automatically wins the duel, and I don't think that's exactly what he was meaning by that. Obi-Wan Kenobi was not saying because I'm standing physically higher than you are, that there's no way you can win. Because, as people have pointed out, he could have jumped sideways onto the shore and then ran up higher than him. And from a sword fighting standpoint, the higher position isn't necessarily a better fighting position, so that's not what I believe that he meant at all. Obi-Wan knew where Anakin's head was at that point. He knew he was being fueled by not just his raw talent, but also his tapping into the dark side and giving into the dark side. And that was blinding him. His arrogance was blinding him. And Anakin knew the move that Obi-Wan had used to defeat Maul back on Naboo. And he was attempting to use that same exact move on Obi-Wan, kind of a slap in the face. Like, look, this is your signature move, I'm taking you out with it. Obi-Wan knew what Anakin was thinking at that point, and he knew he was going to attempt that. That's why he said, don't try it. And a lot of times we forget, with these lightsaber duels, only half the battle is what we see on screen. The actual swords coming together, and the blocks, and the parries, and the attacks, and the jabs, and the strikes. That's only half of it. The other half is in their minds as they're being controlled by the Force. If they weren't allowing themselves to be controlled by the Force, they wouldn't be as skilled of duelists as they were. So Obi-Wan knew where Anakin was coming from, and he knew what attack he was going to try, and that's why he said, don't try it. To Obi-Wan, having the high ground represented being in the position to comfortably block that attack, and unfortunately, Anakin's arrogance just blinded him to the fact that he didn't stand a chance pulling that move. Next one, it ought to be here, but it isn't. So, this is often a meme that people will share around for, Captain Obvious, just sharing something that is just too obvious that it doesn't need to be said. And on its face, that does seem kind of ridiculous, like, oh, it should be here, but it's not. But what he was saying was the gravitational pull of all the stars in that area indicated that there was a planet there, that there was a mass that exerted more gravitational force on the surrounding bodies in space. So what Obi-Wan was saying is, according to the science and according to logic, there should be a planet here, and this is the planet I'm looking for. But the records don't show that. So I don't think that's a cheesy line at all. If anything, it's kind of cool because it's scientific. It's talking about gravitational pull. All right, next one is Vader saying, no! And at first, this does seem to be an awkward delivery for what is basically the emotional crux of the movie. Padme has just died. Anakin's just lost everything, including half his body. And all he can manage is whale sounds? So a lot of people seem to have a problem with this, but one explanation that I've heard is that Vader's suit couldn't really process the sounds that Anakin was making inside the suit, because obviously that's not Anakin's real voice coming through the suit. And at this point, Anakin's lungs and vocal tract and everything was just destroyed by the fire. And just imagine all of the pain that you've experienced in your entire life culminates into this one scream. Such an unhuman, blood-curdling scream that the suit doesn't know how to recognize that, and all it can do is say, next we got unlimited power. And Screen Rant goes on a rant about this in their article, and they say that we got the lame Darth Sidious on this occasion, and when he had Mace Windu on the ropes after Anakin attacked him, he started screaming about power and seemed to forget about the whole idea that Anakin wasn't supposed to know that he was actually the bad guy. Instead, Sidious simply screamed about power like a generic villain, even though he was hiding this fact. And to that I would have to say, he wasn't hiding that he was the Dark Lord anymore. Like, Anakin already knew that he was the Dark Lord of the Sith, and had already confronted him about it, and had already not killed him over it. And let's not forget, Palpatine hated Mace Windu. He hated all that he represented, and finally being able to unleash the dark side that you've kept hidden for so long, your entire career basically, letting that out on your enemy. He was having fun with it. He was toying with Windu. He was electrocuting him and kind of just letting him sizzle for a little bit. But he finally didn't have to hide that anymore, and so he let out his unlimited power. And also, he wanted to demonstrate to Anakin the true power of the dark side, of basically saying, look, now you've taken this step, I need you to join me, because this is what unlimited power looks like. Alright, next line that they have an issue with is, I am the Senate. And again, Screen Rant says, after being confronted by Mace Windu that he was to be arrested, Palpatine scoffed at the idea of anyone capturing him, which is when he openly claimed that he was the Senate. This is one of those lines that made you wonder if Palpatine spent a little spare time flicking through a book entitled How to Be a Supervillain for Dummies. And this is just kind of sad that they don't really treat Palpatine with the respect as a villain as he deserves. He's a fantastic villain. I'm going to do a video in the future all about how Palpatine is the perfect villain. And they just don't really seem to understand his whole point. Anyway, my explanation for this is Palpatine was telling Mace Windu that he basically controlled the entire situation. If they went to arrest him, there's no charges that could be brought against him because being a Sith Lord wasn't a crime. No one even cared that there were Jedi in the universe. Most people didn't even believe the Jedi were real. And so what would the Jedi do? Oh, this guy has a red lightsaber and he does evil things, which he's never actually done any evil things. Like, they wouldn't be able to have anything on him. And if they went to attack him or try to kill him, it would just be an assassination attempt. And if he had defended himself like he did, it would be justified. So in saying I am the Senate, he's basically telling Mace Windu, there is nothing you can do because I am everything. I am all the Sith. Oh gosh. Alright, I think this line needs a rewrite. If I was writing a novel and I put this line in it, how would I rewrite it? Palpatine's face grew dark. Are you threatening me, Master Jedi? Mace Windu's resolve remained unchanged. The Senate will decide your fate. A dark and foreboding glare grew behind Palpatine's eyes. For all your acclamations of wisdom, you are a fool. I control the Senate. I control the courts. I control the Republic. If you move to strike me down, the Jedi Order will be made the enemy of the people, and my power will continue long after you and the other so-called masters fall. Alright, the next line is basically, do it. Which is kind of a meme in itself, and it's really funny, and it is, it's just do it. And just basically when Palpatine commands him to kill Dooku. Some people seem to have a problem with that, and I don't know what the problem is. Because at this point, Anakin doesn't know he's the villain. All he knows is that Palpatine is the one person that he has been able to trust and confide in. Add on to that the fact that Obi-Wan is laying unconscious over on the floor over there. And Anakin had just tapped into the dark side to defeat Count Dooku. And I believe that Palpatine was fueling Anakin with dark side energy that entire fight. So, that line, not cheesy for me. I don't see what the problem is. Come on, Screen Rant. And kind of what I was saying earlier about Palpatine fueling him with dark side energy at that point, when he says do it, it's a command. Almost like a command in the Force, like he's letting a little bit of Darth Sidious shine through in his character. Alright, next one. Obi-Wan saying, I have seen a security hologram of Anakin killing younglings. This isn't cheesy to me at all, and I know that Ewan McGregor had a hard time keeping it together on this line, that's why he's covering his mouth. But at the same time, I don't feel like his delivery or the line itself was cheesy. Like, what? Anakin was killing kids, I saw it on tape. How do you say that in a better way than I've seen a security recordings of Anakin killing younglings? Like, what else are you supposed to say? If anything's awkward, it's kind of Padme's response to that. No, he couldn't have. It's like, well, you saw him murder the Sand People. Like, he told you he murdered all the Sand People. So, like, obviously, you know, he's capable of that. Next one. From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. What is the problem with this? Again, maybe things could be written better, or maybe from like a more poetic standpoint, but like, what is wrong with the line in the first place? Obi-Wan had just called Anakin's only hope for saving his wife's life evil. And what Anakin responds with is not an untrue statement. The Jedi, from his perspective, were evil. If you look at it with an objective opinion, there's a lot of things that the Jedi Order did that were completely corrupt. I'm gonna go ahead and rewrite this again. If I was writing a novel, this is how I would write this line. Obi-Wan screamed, pleaded with his Padawan. Anakin, Chancellor Palpatine is evil! Anakin responded, so certain in his resolve. The Sith and the Jedi are similar in almost every way. The only difference between the two is that the Sith are not afraid of the dark side of the Force. That is why they are more powerful. The Jedi have become a disfigured portrayal of what the Order is meant to be. The Jedi say there is no emotion. But peace is a lie. Their quest for harmony has brought chaos into existence. Their holy crusade for serenity has turned into an unyielding march for power. You might not see it, Master, but from my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Next one. Believe me, I wish I could just wish away my feelings. I don't think it's fair to expect the way that Anakin talks to Padme to be completely polished. Like, he hasn't been allowed to interest himself with anyone his entire life since coming to the Jedi Order. He hasn't been allowed to be close to anyone or in any sort of meaningful relationship with anyone, and now he's suddenly alone with the one person other than his mom that he has cared about basically his entire life. And he knows that he's called to be a Jedi, but at the same time he can't relieve himself of those feelings. And finally, you guys probably assumed this line was coming. I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere. This is probably the most quoted line when talking about bad dialogue of the prequels. And this is actually a genius line. Go and check out right now Two Star Wars Nerds on their channel. They did a video on this where they really did a great job of explaining this line and what the context is and what it actually means and how it's actually genius and how it's actually an amazing line of dialogue. And I'm going to kind of try to touch on that right now, but they did it first. Go check out their original video. They did a fantastic job on it. So let's get some context for this quote. Padme had just talked about how on school trips they used to come to that exact spot and swim over every day to the island and lay out on the sand and let the sun, the warm sun mind you, dry them off. But to Anakin, the sun and the sand represented the harshest aspects of life. They represented aging and destruction. Sand wasn't a comfort, it was a misery. It was bondage, it was cruelty. And then he counters that by saying everything here is soft and smooth. And sure, this could sound like a really cheesy pickup line, but he's just being honest. He's telling her that she's the most comforting thing that he's ever experienced, that she is the most relieving thing that he's ever known. So for this final one, I'm gonna go ahead and rewrite it again. If I was writing a novelization of this is how I would write this line. Anakin's eyes narrowed as he stared into the water. He was 8 years old in Watto's junk shop. He could feel the bruises on his face swelling as he stared at the drops of blood soaking into the sand that covered every inch of the shop's floor. Growing up on Tatooine, Anakin said, finally snapped back to reality. Sand was not a luxury to be enjoyed. It was a burning reminder of the cruelty of everyday life. It was coarse, just like everything there. It represented a roughness found in everyone. No one cared. No one helped. It was a constant feeling of irritation that I could never escape. The misery was everywhere, and the sand was everywhere. But not here. This place. With you, everything is soft and smooth and comforting. You are the opposite of the torture of my childhood, and with you I am finally at peace. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did enjoy that, and you are not subscribed to my channel, I humbly suggest that you do. I really like to get into the more philosophical side of the Star Wars fandom, and why we like those things, and what is it about those deeper things that we enjoy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed those lines and the rewrites, and maybe I've changed your mind. Maybe you thought some of those lines were cheesy, and now you understand them a little bit more. But I just want to thank you for stopping by, and if you've made it this far in the video, I really appreciate your time, and I will see you wherever I happen to see you in the galaxy.
Oh my God. I'm back. I'm home. All the time. You maniac! You blew it up!
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Adega back with you. Another week of things in preparation for Halloween. So sit back, enjoy. Hopefully each week things will get a little bit more intriguing. Here we go.
Bring us another few degrees to port, helmsman. I know these shores, and we're close. The captain was seasoned, far beyond his years, and had the heart of a lion. The combined unit had kept him through the foulest of weather and most windless seas. Captain, isn't this where... well... yes, Lieutenant? But we're men of the sea. Let old ghosts die and keep your wits about you, man. No time to go soft. We have cargo and soldiers to bring home, and by God, we'll be there before daybreak. But this fog, it's what, Lieutenant? Are you fit for my bridge? Or should I send you below to clean the bilge and the filth from the cages? No, sir, I'm fine. The captain peered into the fog, looking for the lighthouse that he knew was there. These were his home waters that he had sailed on dinghies since he was only 6. Nothing could rattle his resolve, though this damn fog was so thick for these shores and his sails had the west wind. It was quiet out as well. No seals or splashing waves along his hull. He had to admit to himself, his lieutenant might have a point, but he couldn't give in to fear. Where's that lighthouse? He thought he had said it in his own mind, but the look on those around him proved his courage was starting to fail. Captain, I don't understand. The charts, could they be wrong? No, it's that damn ship. She's out there hunting us. One more word out of you, Lieutenant, and I will kill haul you right here, right now. As he finished those words, they heard the creaking of the masts off in the distance, a flutter of sail and undone line. She was coming. Captain! His officer cried out in fear. Hold your station! It was too late. She was upon them, devouring and collapsing the old sloop. The ghost ship Cythera took another night, another ship, and the legend continues.
The following game footage was captured from the JAWS NES cartridge using the Retron 5.
Think of all the mature, responsible things you could be doing. Helping old ladies cross the street, proudly maintaining your yard, hanging with your folks, or cleaning your room. But get real, you'd rather be playing video games. You can rent them from Blockbuster. They've got more of the coolest new Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis games for rent than anyone in the world. So dudes, why not get your games at Blockbuster? It's the mature thing to do.
You're a kid in 1987, it's Friday night, and you're cruising through the video store to find a game to play for the weekend. And you see the cover art for JAWS. Back in the 80s and 90s, if there was a hit movie, you knew there was going to be a video game to go along with it. Movie tie-in video games flew off the shelf much faster than all the other games. And if there was one thing they all had in common, it was that they never quite lived up to the movie they represented. And here we go. We're just a few moments into the game and I'm already down a life. Hold on, is that Jaws already? We're less than 2 minutes into the game and I'm fighting Jaws already. I haven't even figured out how to play the game or what I'm even supposed to do yet. And so far, I don't think my weapon is even hurting Jaws. This is not going to end well. Alright, this game means business. We gotta figure this out. If I'm gonna have any chance of taking on Jaws, I need something way more powerful. Alright, we get a weapon on a boat.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Well, that didn't last long at all. Oh, I have a bad feeling about this. Now what do? My weapon's barely scratching him. Do I just wait until I die again? It seems easy enough to dodge if I stay in the middle, but this is gonna take forever. The stingrays and jellyfish seem to be dropping items. I wonder if I need to collect these. So far I have one shell, and the little crab things seem to only give me points. So maybe all I need are shells. Ugh, Jaws is not making it easy to collect these shells. Oh, alright, we're back in the boat. And we're right back out of the boat. Alright, I think I'm far enough away from Jaws this time that we'll have an easier time collecting these shells. Now let's go after these stingrays and jellyfish. A bonus scene? Let's go. Ah, that classic scene from the movie where they bomb jellyfish from the air. How could you forget that one? This seems pretty straightforward. On each pass, try to hit as many jellyfish as you can. Although it seems like the timing is just a little bit off. I feel like the plane is a little too early or just a little too late each time. Maybe we'll get a power-up from this. Wow, this is still going. Alright, what did we get from this? We got 16 hits, and we collected 5 bonus shells. So it turns out the shells are used as currency, and we can buy bonus items from the dock. In this case, we get a receiver to track Jaws. Which pretty much feels pointless, because Jaws has no problem finding us. Oh, dead again. Alright, we gotta grind for these shells.
Two hours later.
Oh man, this is taking forever. Alright, another bonus scene. Maybe we can get more than 5 shells this time. Exactly the same as last time. Unbelievable. Alright, time to focus. Get the shells, get the power-ups.
6.5 hours later.
This game was sitting on the shelf right next to Rampage. I could have been playing Rampage right now. Well, we got the useless shark radar for the 100th time. Maybe we gotta go to the other dock to get more items. I don't know. The only thing I seem to be getting is this radar. Alright, let's get more shells. Alright, let's do this. We need more than 16 hits, and let's get more than 5 shells. $17. 5 shells. Oh, come on, I hit something at the dock? Alright, it's Saturday night, I gotta return this game tomorrow, it's time to get serious. We have almost 30 shells, we're gonna get to that other dock and find out how we're gonna beat Jaws. Okay, I think we're still in good shape. 16's enough, I think, to work with. Let's go get our next add-on. Ugh. Alright, no worries. We'll grind it a little more. We'll get a few more shells. Oh, these jellyfish. Alright, we're gonna use a continue. What?
Oh, you, man! I'm not doing it! Welcome to Echo Base TV, guys, where community happens.
Hello there, and welcome to Adventures with the White Snake. I'm your host, the White Snake. Today, I want to share with you an experience that I had at the end of August 22nd to be precise, when I had the opportunity to attend my very first Kansas City Comic-Con. Now, the reason that I went to the Comic-Con, what I thought was my sole purpose to go, shall I say, was to meet one of my very favorite authors, a hero, as it were, of Star Wars literature, Mr. Timothy Zahn. Now, I had been communicating with Mr. Zahn several weeks before this convention occurred, and I'm very glad that I did. Let me give you a little background on Mr. Timothy Zahn. Mr. Zahn is the author of more than 40 novels, nearly 90 short stories and novellas, and 4 short fiction collections. In 1984, he won the Hugo Award for Best Novella. Mr. Zahn is best known for his Star Wars novels, Thrawn, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, The Last Command, Spectre of the Past, Vision of the Future, Survivor's Quest, Outbound Flight, Allegiance, Choices of One, and Scoundrels, with more than 4 million copies of his books in print. Other books include the Cobra series, the Quadrail series, and the young adult Dragonback series. Mr. Zahn has a Bachelor of Science in Physics from Michigan State University and a Master of Science from the University of Illinois. He lives with his family on the Oregon coast. So I was eagerly anticipating meeting this gentleman. When we arrived to the Comic-Con, I introduced myself. I went to his booth before anyone else's, and he produced from underneath the table this box. Now, I will keep this box probably the rest of my life because he has written my name all over this box. And so I will not be putting this in the trash or using it to wrap things. So I'll be keeping this box. Now, in this box were about 10 books that I had purchased in advance from him, and I'm very glad that I did. The Comic-Con in Kansas City started on a Friday and it ended on a Sunday afternoon. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday, Mr. Zahn's 200 books that he brought with him were sold out. He was completely wiped out when we got there. So he was glad that he had put these books back, and I was extremely happy about that as well. So I made my choices. I like to purchase gifts for people. I'm just that way. I'm a gift giver. And I like to buy ahead of time. So my idea was, okay, I'll get these books and give these as gifts for birthdays or Christmas or special occasions or something like that. So I chose a variety of books from him, which he graciously signed, each and every one. So one of the books that I purchased was the Star Wars Thrawn trilogy, Alliances. Now, I haven't read this book yet. Thank goodness he didn't ask me if I'd read it. He didn't ask me if I'd read any of them, which I have, but I haven't read some of the newer ones. So this book is just exquisite. And like I said, he signed each and every book very personally. They're personalized with the recipient's name and some little missive in it. So I'm hoping that these will be very special gifts for my friends and family. Another book that I'm just thrilled to get is the book Scoundrels. Now, this particular book was selling, I believe, for $350. I did see one listing for $2,000 on eBay. Mr. Zahn told me that there were only 30 of these in print, and he had brought all of them and sold all of them except the ones of mine that were in the box. So I guess that he's going to wait until the next printing. But I told him when I checked his books on eBay, some of them were selling for $350, $1,000. He laughed. He thought that was pretty funny. So I anticipate that these will be quite valuable, sometime. Of course, I have no intention of selling mine on eBay. They're going to stay with my family. So anyway, this is a really neat one. Scoundrels, from what I understand, is one of his popular ones. It's an older book. It's not easy to come by, from what I understand from him. So I went ahead and bought some of these as well. Let me see. I did get him to sign my books. I brought my older series. I have the Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising. These are the older versions of the book. Publications with the older book covers to them, of course. So I got him to sign all of those. He thought that was pretty funny. I brought all those with me after purchasing a box of books from him. So I had many books that I was carting around at the Comic-Con. And then here is his Star Wars Thrawn book. And you can see the cover there, just beautiful artwork. Again, these are all signed by him. I have photographs of him actually signing these books in order to verify authenticity. They had a fellow there, which I guess they do at Comic-Cons. I don't know that much about Comic-Cons because this was my first one, but apparently there's a fellow there that stamps them, certifies them or something, and then that way they are signed by the genuine author. which I thought that was kind of neat. I know that they do that for sports memorabilia, but I didn't realize that they do that for artwork and for books. So that was something that I learned as well. All in all, I think we visited with Mr. Zahn and his wife Anna for about 45 minutes. Lovely people. They do travel all over the country in order to do conventions and meet people and promote, their literature. While I was there, I asked Mr. Zahn point blank if he did interviews. I told him that I was a member of the Echo Base Network family. We're a group of people who love Star Wars and find great joy in it. And we are always promoting the behind-the-scenes guys like the authors. He was very thankful for that and very impressed with that. Unfortunately, he does not grant interviews. He told me that it takes time away from his work so that he can produce more literature, which I completely understand. He also said that due to the contract that he has with his publisher, he's very limited on his appearances. While we were there, I asked him if he and his wife had any plans to attend additional conventions in the country in the year 2022. He had a calendar, a book with him. I think it's Anna helps him keep track of the schedule. But anyway, he said he kind of looked and, well, then the next thing I said, it's interesting because there's a group of us from Echo Base Network that will be attending ICCC in April of 2022. And he kind of looked at me like that and he said, really? And I said, yes. I said, if you brought some of your books there, I said, you would sell out probably within 2 hours. He disappeared. I don't know whether he went to the bathroom or whether there was a break room or if he went outside the building. When he returned, he said, we've got that on our calendar now. So the happy news is, for those of you who would enjoy meeting Mr. Zahn, if you have anything that you would like to get signed by him, he will be at the ICCC in April, and he will be very happy to meet anyone from Echo Base Network. So that's a positive. I was very pleased to get him to commit to that. Other than that, we just had a great time. Met a lot of young artists. I did purchase some Funko Pops, I think, some Star Wars type stuff. I found some artistic drawings that I really liked. I bought some Darth Vader comic books. We just had a great time. I'm 60, I'll be 61 in December. My husband's 67. And we're just a couple of big kids, big Star Wars nerds, but that's okay. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this retelling of my adventure with Mr. Timothy Zahn at the Kansas City Comic-Con. If you have ideas or suggestions for future content that you would like to see from me, please let me know. I'm on Facebook. The coach and Nick know how to get a hold of me. Again, I thank you for your time. Let's enjoy life to the fullest. Let's enjoy Star Wars and let's enjoy each other. May God bless you. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.
Hey, this is Jedi Master Lawrence coming from an undisclosed location. I'm running from the Empire. But if you want to read the book, The Heart of the Jedi by Kenneth C. Flint, you go to the YouTube channel of Echo Base Network, look up Heart of the Jedi. You can listen to it on audiobook. If you want to get the book, go to echobasenetwork.com under merch and get the shirt. I gotta run. See ya.
Hello everyone, Ted the Star Wars Nerd here, and I am back at Echo Base to watch another fan film. This is a really short one. I thought I'd sneak in here, watch it real quick, and get out before they could catch me. Alright, so I got it teed up here. This is called Unlimited Power. So let's get to it.
Do you crave unlimited power,
but don't have the credits?
Then set your Navicomputer for the generous Jawa Droid Emporium, where we'll sell you a used GNK series power droid for a fraction of the cost. They may not look like much, but they've got it where it counts. Unlimited power you can wield throughout the galaxy at a price you can afford. That's the generous Jawa Droid Emporium, Mos Eisley Spaceport, Tatooine in the Outer Rim. Limit one droid per customer. Restraining bolt on included droid fusion reactors are not subject to warranty. The generous Jawa Droid Emporium is not responsible for any electrical damage to equipment or life forms. All sales are final. This message is not approved by the Empire.
Wow. Oh, that was great. That is great. That is great. Wow. Okay. Unlimited power. That gunk droid's got some moves. I could see Coach doing all that. What do you think? Maybe we should get, like, edit his face onto the power droid. That would look cool. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here real quick. Thanks again for tuning in. I am Ted the Old Star Wars Nerd here, sneaking into Echo Base Network, where you are the Echo Base Network. Thanks again for joining me, and until next time, take care.
Small addition to that trimming. Here's the fat that I've trimmed off. I trimmed off some of this. I'll leave some of this there because I wanted to actually throw extra flavor. See this one here? Has a lot of it, tendrils in it. I'm going to go off and see in that grain. This is where you would go off and see in a corned beef and see it break apart. I'm going to actually cut that up and put it as tidbits in for some jerky. But this one may end up getting cut into that eventually. But you can see where I've portioned it up to where I'll be able to work with it easier, cooker, marinated. Where I'm going to leave this bigger one. That way I can get bigger, longer slices after it's cooked.
You're traveling through another channel. A channel not only of sight and sound, but of content. A journey into a stream whose boundaries are that of imagination. You see a link up ahead. Your next click, Echo Base TV.
Intelligence report in. Red 10 standing by. Red 7 standing by. Red 3 standing by. Red 6 standing by.
Red 9 standing by.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
Burrito 1, come in. Burrito 1, do you copy?
Mike, what the hell are you doing? Answer them right now.
Uh-huh.
This is no way to go fight the Empire.
Uh-huh.
I told you to get rid of that stupid bobblehead.
Uh-huh.
Stop ignoring me. Okay, you were right. Great flying. And I apologize.
Uh-huh.
Go to EchoBaseNetwork.com today to order this super clean Burrito 1 t-shirt. Only at EchoBaseNetwork.com. Coach and Nick are making t-shirts great again.
Hey Tron, how are you, man?
Hey, hello.
Hi Saturday, how are you?
I'm good.
That's good.
You say you want to mark it?
Yeah, yes.
So how's y'all's day been
What's
going
up,
so
guys?
far?
How's it going?
I'm doing very good, Tron. How about you?
Great for the job.
Yeah.
Looks good.
I'm just chatting with someone, sorry.
Dron, I just sent the link to the YouTube video for the stream in the Discord here, so hopefully we get people in ya.
Hey fam, what's going on? Welcome to the reboot of Tron's Chillcast, the only podcast where you can chill and talk about anything. Now I gotta lay out the rules of the podcast simulation. 1. This is an 18+ stream, so saying no words is allowed. 2. Try to keep the no words apart. I don't want to hear it back to back under a minute. If you do, you will be muted for a good 5 minutes. 3. Please keep it within the Twitch's TOS, I don't care if it's just the edge of it. There will be pop-ins because I basically told my Echo Base family on YouTube side and more. Plus I am using StreamYard for the cam and voice, so it will be different experience for me.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, I never used it before, so it's different. So tell me something about you, Master Paul.
Okay. So I'm 26 and I'm from Virginia. And as you can see in my username here, I run a YouTube channel with my brother called the Star Wars Guys.
Yeah.
And pretty much we just talk about Star Wars on there. And as Tron mentioned, we're both followers of Echo Base Network. And Echo Base was one of the many channels who inspired me to start my channel. So, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with me.
So give me 1 second. I'm gonna mute for a second. Alright. So tell me about the Star Wars Guys.
Yep.
What do you guys do?
Basically, we just talk about what's been going on with Star Wars lately. We talk about the different news and rumors that's going on right now. We just did a big series of reviewing all the movies. Soon we're going to start reviewing the Clone Wars. And we also are thinking about doing some non-Star Wars stuff too. Like, for example, in the last live stream that we did, our viewers were especially surprised that a lot of the classic 80s and 90s action movies my brother and I have not seen. Like, for example, we've never seen any of the Terminator movies, never seen...